Hello and welcome to Security in Context. I'm Anita Fuentes, and today I am joined by Zaynab El Bernoussi, founding member of Security in Context and visiting assistant professor of social research and public policy at NYU Abu Dhabi. Our conversation today is not an easy one. We will be discussing the devastating earthquake that struck Morocco last Friday, September 8th, which has taken over 2,000 lives. It has affected over 300,000 people, according to the World Health Organization, and has caused widespread damage in the city of Marrakesh and surrounding areas as well. Welcome, Zainab. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Anita. And thank you for giving attention to the situation in Morocco. This is much needed in this time of great difficulty for many people there as we speak, because it really raises awareness and helps people know about what's going on. In addition, I would like also to offer my condolences to all the people affected. It is very difficult to watch what is going on in one's country, one's familiar places from afar. But I'm much touched by the immense outpouring of solidarity from friends, colleagues, and strangers from around the world. And again, this is very helpful and heartwarming in this tragic, with this tragic incident. The earthquake. So to give you maybe here some idea about what's going on, the earthquake of last
Yes,
Friday.
I was actually going to ask you if you could, give us a sense of the disaster, the scale of the disaster, and also your initial reactions to the earthquake, and what are people on the ground saying, if you're familiar with what people are saying right now.
Yes, so I mean it's devastating. I mean I've been trying to follow with and catch up with family, friends, loved ones there, everyone. The earthquake of last Friday is one of the deadliest earthquakes that hit Morocco since the infamous Agadir earthquake of 1960. And as of now, there are over 2,100 people killed and over and thousands injured. The numbers are also likely to rise as many of the villages hit by the earthquake are remote and difficult to access by the local authorities. It's also devastating to watch what is happening back home and think about how the country is going to recover from from such a tragedy. As you know, there is much poverty in Morocco, and it has hit a very poor area of the country. That is also, I mean, the dramatic or the tragic side of what's going on. In terms of economic cost, it's estimated at over 10 billion US dollars, which is likely to take many years to recover. Many people on the ground reported that the force of the quake, even in further away cities from the epicenter like Rabat and Casablanca, where I have relatives, that even in those places, they were the shock was quite violent. Many people are mourning loved ones and looking for loved ones and survivors. There is also a lot of anxiety and anger regarding the local authorities' handling of the catastrophe and lack of preparation, particularly in those remote villages in the mountains.
I actually wanted to ask you specifically about this. So the earthquake has seriously affected Marrakesh, which is one of Morocco's largest cities, as we were saying before, but the highest death tolls so far have been reported in the rural towns of the High Atlas Mountains. So could you describe what these areas are like for those who are not familiar with Morocco, and maybe tell us about the difficulties that they are experiencing in the aftermath of the earthquake more in depth?
Okay, so as you mentioned before, it is estimated that maybe more than 300 or about 300,000 people have been affected by the earthquake. So this is really a significant area and concentration of people. This area is between both Marrakesh and Safi, so south of Marrakesh, these two cities. And the area in between is, well, the area of the High Atlas Mountains, and you have several villages and many constructions. So first, I mean, it is a very pretty area of the country in terms of landscape, though it's a very rugged landscape. Uh, and many constructions in the villages, towns, and even cities of this part of the country are made of mud and rocks. So they are not very stuck together, which means that when we had the force of the earthquake, they really crumbled quite easily. So you have here an idea of the scale of the damage. It's also very difficult to live in the area. So generally, as public services are difficult to access when they are available. I am currently in the UAE, but I used to teach in the nearby Middle Atlas Mountains region, and I used to take my students to this area of the High Atlas Mountains. And we saw, as we were getting there, we saw the roads getting narrower and more difficult to access the further south we drove. You also experience the extreme temperature changes between the very hot days and the often freezing nights. Today, I was just talking to my father when he reminded me that when I was little, so over 30 years ago, we liked to go to the area. And when we drove there, the road was so sinuous that I would jump from the back seat of the car to cling to his arm because I was so scared. So that's to give you a bit of an image of access to the area. And the state of some of these roads hadn't changed much since then. And this was when I was little, so this is over 30 years ago. The area is also very rocky, and often roads are blocked by debris. After these earthquakes, there are now entire villages and towns that have been wiped out almost entirely or heavily destroyed, such as Amizmiz, Ad-Dasil, Imlil, and many others. You have also multiple tragic stories of families buried together and groups of pupils who move away from their even more remote villages to go study in bigger villages, also buried together under the rubble.
Oh God, it's really hard to listen to this, but yeah, is there anything about the region's history and also about its socio-political and economics context that is relevant in understanding the current situation in Morocco? Could you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, the area comprises some of the poorest parts of the country, with the Daraa Tafilaj region at a level of 14.5% of poverty. And the area has also very poor infrastructure. Yet it is one of the most touristic regions of the country, with often very opulent resorts. This means that you can see in the region the stark contrasts of a very rural, precarious Morocco and a very luxurious, polished Morocco. The region was also historically the stronghold of some of the most important ruling dynasties, given the importance centuries ago of the trans-Saharan trade. So it hosts many important UNESCO protected sites that have been heavily affected by the earthquake. Also, with the earthquake, many of the survivors, especially the villagers, have been quick to call out the local authorities for the lack of adequate infrastructure, mainly roads to access their villages or even access to their homes in old medinas in the cities. There is also increasing outrage about those stark inequalities that have been further revealed about the country with this catastrophe.
So to conclude, what is happening right now in terms of relief efforts? And also, I would like to know what your assessment is of the regional and international response to the earthquake.
Well, right now, the armed forces in the country are the main actor in the relief efforts, but they are overwhelmed by the difficulty to help, and especially to access all those remote villages. Many local NGOs and group of volunteers are helping also in collecting funds and getting basic resources to people who lost their homes, who need food, and some makeshift shelters. Um, in terms of international response, regional ones, has been an outpouring show of solidarity from countries far and close to Morocco. Algeria, which closed its airspace to Morocco 2 years ago because of a series of tensions, has reopened its airspace to facilitate help coming to Morocco and even offered humanitarian aid. The UAE, where I'm based now, has ordered an air bridge to deliver relief supplies. And these are just examples from many of these heartwarming shows of solidarity, and prove that there is willingness to react quickly and help partners in times of difficulty, because it is much needed.
Thank you so much, Zainab. Is there anything, any thoughts that you'd like to share that we haven't covered?
Well, I mean, I really appreciate all the support. I think it's these are moments of difficulty, but maybe also these moments of reckoning, right? With how much solidarity is important, how much equality is important.
Zaynab El Bernoussi, thank you so much for your insights again. I hope the situation in Morocco improves and those injured or affected by the earthquake can recover very soon. Thank you.